From the station working for you, this is a WRTV update.
The holidays are a special time of year filled with joy and family time, but for so many Hoosiers who have suffered a loss, it can also be one of the most difficult times of the year. Thanks for staying up late with us. I'm Nicole Griffin. Tonight, nearly 50 local children who have been impacted by gun violence now have Christmas gifts under their tree, thanks to the Christmas with a Purpose giveaway. The group Purpose for My Pain, created by Indianapolis mother Deandra Dykes, organized the efforts to give back to these families. Dykes, whose son was shot and critically injured 7 years ago, holds several events throughout the year as a way for mothers to connect and process their grief. She says it feels good to come together and bring some happiness to grieving mothers and their children this holiday season.
Christmas is different. Thanksgiving is different. Birthdays, holidays are just different in the aftermath of such tragic loss. For me, my son, he won't be home this Christmas because of COVID, but typically when he's home, he's just there in a hospital bed. And so it's just, not the same. And for so many families, there is no one there. There's an empty seat at the table.
Aside from toys and clothes for the children, Christmas with a Purpose also provided self-care bags for the moms.
To let them know that they are not forgotten as well. Some moms need that during this time, especially the moms that have been affected by gun violence, to make sure that they know that they are still thought of and need to be encouraged to take care of themselves.
I was a mother impacted by gun violence. My son was shot and murdered 4 years ago, and I know how Christmas was that first year or ever since then. It's just hard to get up and do anything. You don't want to shop. You don't want to do anything but just nothing. So this has given me a chance to enjoy other people's happiness and let them know that we can still go on and move on and still have a purpose for our pain that we lost.
Well, this is the first year Purpose for My Pain has organized a Christmas gift giveaway event on their own. All of the gifts families took home today came from donations from the community. Dykes tells us she's also supporting those in need due to COVID-19. With more than 114,000 Americans currently hospitalized battling COVID-19, there is now welcoming news that a second vaccine has been given emergency use authorization by the FDA. Here's ABC's Karina Mitchell with the details.
Distribution of Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine is underway. The FDA's emergency authorization coming Friday, just 1 week after Pfizer's vaccine got the green light.
This is another crucial step in the fight against a global pandemic that is causing vast numbers of hospitalizations and deaths in the United States every day. This vaccine met the FDA's rigorous standards for quality, safety, and efficacy.
The two vaccines are similar. They both use messenger RNA technology to teach your cells how to protect the body against COVID-19. Efficacy rates for both are more than 94%, but there are differences. Pfizer's shot ultra-cold refrigeration at negative 94 degrees Fahrenheit, while Moderna's can be kept in a regular freezer. As Pfizer wraps up its first week of distribution, there have been some complaints over the number of doses to be delivered to states. General Gus Perna apologizing for the, quote, miscommunication.
Because this is a Herculean effort and we are not perfect, the key is to be transparent and to openly communicate at all levels, step by step.
These two vaccines coming not a moment too soon. An internal Health and Human Services memo obtained by ABC News confirms there were more than 18,000 deaths in the 7 days that ended on December 18th, a 13.8% increase compared to the previous week, and 32% of hospitals across the country have more than 80% of their ICU beds filled. More than 114,000 Americans now hospitalized with the virus, according to the COVID Tracking Project.
We're seeing a lot more in the emergency room. They're getting a little sicker, and a lot of it started after Thanksgiving.
Healthcare workers among the first to be vaccinated.
I've seen some of my colleagues on social media, around the country showing themselves getting the vaccines, and I'm surprised by how emotional it makes me because I know they're protected.
And the CDC is working with CVS and Walgreens to vaccinate some of the most vulnerable, older Americans living in nursing homes and long-term care facilities. Karina Mitchell, ABC News, New York.
Karina, thank you. Let's get to the very latest COVID-19 numbers tonight from the state health department. Another 4,839 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with the virus. 73 more Hoosiers have died with the virus, bringing the total number of deaths to 7,017. Since March, more than 457,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for COVID-19, and more than 5 million tests have been administered in Indiana. A Lawrence family is frightened and desperate for help. They are looking for a 14-year-old whom they haven't seen since Tuesday. They hope you would recognize Nyla Kimbrough. Although her family has not seen her since early this week, friends told them they saw her last night around 8 p.m. near the Amber Woods Apartments at 38th and Midhofer. Her family says she has a history of running away, but usually returns home after a day or two. This time, they are even more concerned because she doesn't have her cell phone. If you have any information, call the Lawrence Police Department. A silver alert for a missing 13-year-old boy from Kokomo has been canceled. Police say Xander Wheeler has been found safe and is now back home with his family tonight. Wheeler had been missing since December 10th. Congratulations to the newest group of Indiana State Police troopers who graduated from the academy. And for these 36 recruits, this has not been a normal education process. For the last 2 weeks of training, all the recruits stayed at the academy in a bubble away from outside contact. The ceremony on Saturday was held virtually due to COVID-19 restrictions. Family and friends could not attend, and now each graduating trooper will be assigned to one of 14 state police posts across Indiana. We are now just under a week away from Christmas, which means this is the last weekend to get out and get everything crossed off your shopping list. We sent our photographer down to Mass Ave tonight to see if there were any crowds. We did find a line outside of at least one local business as shoppers look to spend their money locally. We asked those shoppers why it's important for them to support small businesses and if they have any advice for all those last-minute shoppers.
We live right in the neighborhood, and I love being able to walk out the door and have access to all different things.
For us, we actually moved here this year, and we wanted to get some local indie gifts and support local businesses and bring that home to our families.
I know that shipping is all over the place, so I do think it's a tough decision because I know a lot of people are trying to stay at home. So I am glad that there are places that are requiring us to wear masks to get out and be able to get some of those last minute things.
Just go for it. Whatever you're thinking, get it for them if you can. I feel like I'm always hesitant on what I get people, so just go for it and hopefully you can find something supporting your local community.
To help make it more convenient for you to shop local, many of the businesses on Mass Ave are offering curbside pickup as an easy option to avoid going inside the stores. Now to your forecast, meteorologist Kyle Mounts. It's standing by as we wrap up kind of a rainy, chilly Saturday.
Yeah, for those shoppers out there this evening, Nicole, we had some of that drizzle that just wouldn't really shut off, and we still have some of that out there tonight, although it will begin to dissipate a little bit. As far as any organized light rain, that's now moving out of the North Vernon area and through portions of Franklin County there. It will continue to slide into Ohio, but what we will have an issue with here overnight is going to be some fog that's already been developing here. You can see the visibility only a mile in Fishers, less than a mile now in Cloverdale, and Martinsville about 1.5 miles visibility. So it could be fairly thick with that fog as we go into tomorrow morning. We're looking from the IMS Pagoda, but you can't see the skyline because of those foggy conditions. Our temperature 39 degrees, those light winds under 10 miles per hour, and that humidity at 100%. That's the recipe for that fog that will be continuing through the overnight. Temperatures out there tonight, still 40 in Greencastle, Bloomington, and Muncie, while it's 38 in Connorsville and 39 in Martinsville. Don't expect these numbers to really fall too far from that as we go into tomorrow morning because that air is fairly saturated. So the temperature will hold here in the upper 30s, middle 30s as we get to 9 a.m. with cloudy skies. But sunshine's going to return. We also have some big time temperature changes to talk about leading into the Christmas holiday.
I just want to thank Kevin Gregory for hosting the 20th annual toy drive and Andrea Collins making us a part of it. It was just a real blessing to be able to provide toys and special things for our kids at Christmas.
Thanks to you, our viewers, the staff here at WRTV, and our sponsors. The 20th annual WRTV Toy Drive is the most successful it has ever been. And this year we've received more than double the amount of monetary donations, with nearly $20,000 raised and more toys than ever before. The donations are now going to more than 8 local organizations throughout central Indiana, including Servant's Heart. The nonprofit serves families in 6 zip codes in the southeast part of Marion County. They typically hold the Saturday event at a Beech Grove school, but due to COVID, they hosted a Santa shop, allowing families to pick out their own items.
It's just been such a hard year for everybody to adapt with all these COVID situations. So we wanted to be able to give the kids some hope and give the families some hope, because so many of the families are not working, or the hours are cut back, or whatever the situation is with that. And we just want to be able to share the love of God with them at Christmas time.
There's a huge need in our community for what is going on here. We are so thankful to have them, to have Servant's Heart come to our school and let us participate. It also gives the kids a good sense of giving. Every year prior to this year, we've always had a classroom adopt a family, so the kids have been part of the giving process. This year with COVID, it's a little different.
Well, tonight, 185 families, including 460 children, now have gifts from Servant's Heart for the holidays, thanks to the WRTV Toy Drive. Congress has temporarily avoided a government shutdown by passing a short-term spending bill, giving them 2 more days to negotiate an economic relief package for those impacted by the pandemic. But many hurdles still remain. The very latest coming up next. Congress is racing to reach a final agreement on a COVID-19 relief package that would extend unemployment benefits, increase assistance to businesses, and send a new round of stimulus checks to most American taxpayers. But there are still some hurdles. ABC's Faith Abube has the details.
Congress managing to avoid a government shutdown, passing a short-term spending bill late Friday to fund the government for 2 more days. The short-term fix giving lawmakers just 48 hours to finalize a COVID relief package. Both sides say a deal is close. But there is one significant hurdle, language proposed by Republican Senator Pat Toomey that would block the Biden administration from relaunching several expiring lending programs after he takes office.
Everybody needs to make a decision about whether we're going to pass this much needed relief or not, and about 11th hour demands and whether they are worth holding up the entire bill.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell saying it's time to land this plane.
There's a kind of gravitational pull here in Congress where, unless we are careful, any major negotiation can easily slide into an unending catalog of disagreements.
The $900 billion relief package would include $600 in direct stimulus payment for millions of Americans, plus $300 in weekly federal unemployment benefits. Congressman Jim Clyburn with a promise.
We are not going home until we pass some legislation that will give relief to the American people. That I know.
As the bickering continues in Washington, many Americans are struggling.
I go from a double income household to a single income. My mom isn't working. I'm the only one working because my mom has to stay home with my daughter for online schooling.
Another 885,000 people filed for unemployment just last week. Lines at many food banks across the country stretching for miles.
People are driving upwards of an hour to 2 hours to get here and then sitting in a line for 3 to 4 hours before they're able to get their box of food.
Faith Abube, ABC News, Washington.
Now to Johnson County tonight, where a community collaboration could make a big difference in the lives of children. Right now, work is underway to paint a mural on the walls inside the Johnson County Prosecutor's Office. This is the Hall of Brave, where victims walk to testify about really difficult traumas. And so together with the Prosecutor's Office, Leadership Johnson County Creative Council, and Assist Indiana, they received a grant from Johnson County YMCA. Together, they are painting bright colors and words of affirmation on these walls in support of these brave children.
This project just demonstrates how a village can come together for a great cause, do great work, make a difference in the life of kids and hopefully leave a lasting positive impression. We want them to feel seen, heard, known, that they're amazing, they're wonderful, they're tough, kind. I could go on, but the biggest thing is most of all, we want them to know they're believed.
Assist Indiana has specialized therapists, victim advocates, and various support groups, as well as prevention education, and their following has grown quickly in this pandemic. If you need access to any of these resources, we do have much more on our website, WRTV.com. Just click on this story. Fewer volunteers and more demand. Those are just two of the many challenges the YMCA faced this year for their annual toy drive distribution. Our Alyssa Donovan explains why this year's drive was especially important.
More than 1,800 families received gifts today as part of the YMCA's annual toy drive here at the Indiana State Fairgrounds.
We were able to still pull this off, still have the drive-through for our families that, are needing toys for Christmas.
Like most things in 2020, the 20th annual YMCA toy drive distribution looked a little different than past events.
Because everyone's coming through with cars, usually they stop and we can take pictures and we can talk.
But because of the pandemic, people stayed in their cars and toys were placed inside. These volunteers knew this toy drive had to happen, no matter how they could make it work. They say serving the community is more essential than ever this year.
This pandemic has really put a lot of burdens on people this year. So we are making sure that we can help people that need the help for Christmas.
They're getting baby dolls, they're getting trucks, they're getting little cars. There's so many different toys depending on the age range.
Over several hours with a skeleton crew of only 60 volunteers compared to the usual 150, the team managed to pass out more than 3,200 toys to families in need.
60 people is working this, girl. We're working it. So God has blessed us to have the energy and the strength to continue to do what we promised our community to do.
I'm Alyssa Donovan, WRTV.
Well, if you would like to help the YMCA with Christmas gifts, they are already planning ahead for next year. Just visit our website and you'll find details there on how you can help make a difference. Kyle, so good to see everyone working together this holiday season.
Yeah, making it happen with some challenging circumstances for sure. As we check out the view, well, we can't see a whole lot there from the IU campus. You can see, though, in a few of those lights that it is foggy out there, and we're going to continue to have some visibility that I think will be widespread under a mile tomorrow morning. So if you are going to be heading out, especially before sunrise, just take it slow out there. Temperatures right now in the upper 30s, still 40 degrees for you in Shelbyville and Muncie. That's above the average high for this time of year. So temperatures are really doing pretty well, as we're about 5 to 10 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. But the fog, it'll be with us tonight. That wind under 10 miles per hour out of the southwest, and temperatures down to around 34 degrees or so. Drewcast, as we take you into your Sunday morning at 7 a.m., I don't think we're going to have any rain, maybe a little bit of drizzle in some of that mist and fog that we'll have out there, but otherwise the cloudy skies to start things off. As we go toward the middle of the day, though, we do start to see some clearing working in from the west. Still mostly cloudy skies around Muncie into the Richmond and Liberty areas here as we go midday, but you'll see some clearing as well. And as we get into our Sunday evening and Sunday night, we'll still have partly cloudy skies out there. Temperature wise, we'll be in the 30s with those clouds through noon. And then as we get into the afternoon hours, I do think we'll see temperatures making their way back into the lower and even some middle 40s out there. 44 in Bloomington, 41 in Hendricks County there in Danville. Rushville, the same for you, and about 40 degrees in Noblesville. On Monday, we are going to have more clouds around once again. A Clipper type system will roll through the area, but it's not going to bring any snow. Temperatures will be warm enough that we may see a few rain showers. And look at that breeze southwest at 10 to 20. We'll get those temperatures into the middle 40s. And it stays pretty mild here, even into the 50s on Wednesday. But look at what happens as Santa comes in here on Christmas Eve. Those temperatures are going to come crashing down and likely not going to get out of the 20s for highs on Friday Christmas Day. 7-day planning forecast put it together. Those temperatures not looking too bad here over the next few days. And then as we get toward Wednesday, 53 degrees on Thursday. I think that's when we'll see that temperature transition. We'll go from some rain showers to a little bit of snow shower activity, but right now any accumulations should be under an inch for us as we'll have those high temperatures much colder into next weekend.
All right, Kyle, thank you so much. Well, an Indiana hoops tradition, very different this December, but still a pair of solid matchups featuring state rivals. We will recap Saturday's Crossroads Classic when the news at 11 continues.
Like a very private function in a largely empty Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Butler and IU opening the Crossroads Classic doubleheader. The teams were tied at 25 through 15 minutes. BU made a nice run to close out the first half. Jair Bolden got it started with a 3. He led the Bulldogs with 20 points in the game. Bryce Golden hit a couple of short jumpers soon after that. He scored 10. Butler had a 9-point lead at halftime. The second half saw IU get moving and get total control of the game. In transition, Armand Franklin spots up and hits the 3. He scored 20 points this afternoon. That triple would give Indiana the lead for good. A 19-3 run to open the half. Al Durham scores inside, forcing a Butler timeout. Durham scored 11. IU had 19 assists on 25 field goals. Franklin finding Race Thompson on the move as the Hoosiers extend their lead to 13. And it was Trace Jackson Davis with the high scoring effort again. 21 points on 7 of 9 shooting. He also had 8 rebounds and 5 blocks. Indiana looking solid ahead of their Big Ten schedule. 68-60 when it was done.
One of those things where you have to find a way to dig yourself out of it. And I thought we challenged ourselves. And I thought our guys really were disappointed in the way that we played. And I thought in the second half, we came out with a much better approach. Our attitude was much different.
I think our guards have built a lot of confidence in shooting the ball in the last 2 games. So hopefully we can keep that up and just keep playing inside out. If they double or do whatever they do, we can hit open shots. So,
we came out early and it was back and forth. I thought our guys had great energy. They responded. And, we have to grow ourselves to be tough enough to respond sooner.
Purdue and Notre Dame, the second game of the day. A couple of storylines throughout this one. 3-point shooting would be a high-scoring affair for both teams. Sasha Stevanovic hit for 3 on back-to-back Purdue possessions in the first half. He hit 5 in the game, an 18-point showing. Purdue led 47-42 at halftime. Notre Dame came back to tie with 3 straight threes after the break, but the triples kept falling for Purdue as well. Eric Hunter Jr. also scored 18. 3 this time down put Purdue back in front. They had a big advantage inside as well. Trevion Williams scored 14 points. Purdue was a +12 advantage in the paint. They also had a +9 rebounding edge. The long-range shooting would keep Notre Dame in it, but also put the game away for Purdue. Brandon Newman gets this one. The teams combined for 30 made behind the arc. 14 for Purdue, 16 for ND. But the numbers that mattered at the end, though, 88-78. Purdue gets the win. After playing big for the last couple games, Purdue's showing they've got some shooters as well. All 4 teams get back into conference action next week. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
Tonight, dozens of Hamilton County kids have something to look forward to this Christmas thanks to a determined sheriff and his staff. Because of the pandemic, the annual Shop with Kids event could not happen in person this year, but Sheriff Dennis Quakenbush insisted this would not be a deal breaker. So instead, he and his staff gathered wish lists from 39 kids and shopped for those items. Then on Saturday, they loaded up all the goodies in a caravan and delivered them right to the children's homes.
We've got a care package for each family, including some food, coats, and then they were able to pick out some toys, and we've done the shopping and got those toys, and now we're just really excited to deliver them.
The sheriff says 2020 has been hard for everyone, and with so many families in a financial crunch because of the pandemic, the deliveries were more important than ever. Take a look at this. It's Snowman versus Beast. A giant panda living in Moscow Zoo showed his impressive martial arts skills by battling a snowman and completely destroying it to obtain treats. Zoo workers placed carrots and branches into a snowman in the panda's enclosure. They wanted to entertain the bear while giving it a task to solve before obtaining his meal. But despite his cute looks, giant pandas possess formidable force with their biting power, which is comparable to brown bears. And Kyle, he looks like he's having fun there. Was he laying on his back now, rolling around?
Looks like fun for him, but maybe a little traumatizing for the kids as he decapitates that snowman pretty good. Our temperatures, they're looking pretty good here through Wednesday and then much colder heading into Christmas Day.
All right, Kyle, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Have a great night.